Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm bringing something that you guys have not seen on my channel before, and that is a Yosenju deck profile. I've been wanting to build this deck for a very long time, and I'm very glad that I can finally build it. I will let you guys know, first of all, this is a blind going second variant. However, this deck is pretty consistent and I really enjoy playing it, so let's just go ahead and jump on into the main deck. Starting off, of course, you do run 3 copies of Yosenju, 1. The main thing you need to know about the Yosenjus is all of them have the effect of, if they were normal summoned during the end phase, you bounce them back to hand. And they also have the effect of, if you normal summon one of the Yosenjus, you can then immediately normal summon another Yosenju from your hand. So the first one is Kama 1, which is, if you control another Yosenju monster, you can target one monster on the field and bounce it back to that owner's hand. So this is mainly just so that way you can be able to recycle your Kaijus by adding them back to your hand after giving them to your opponent. And then continuing on, we do run 3 copies of Yosenju, 2. Yosenju, 2 can attack directly, however, any damage that it does is halved. And of course, it has the effect of all Yosenjus to be able to gain additional normal summons, and then of course bounce this back during the end phase after you normal summon this card. And then we run 3 copies of Yosenju, 3. Yosenju, 3 has the really good effect of, if you were to deal damage to your opponent with another Yosenju monster, you can then add any Yosenju card from your deck to your hand, except for Yosenju, 3. So it's just really powerful to be able to get you any of your other Yosenju monsters that you need, or you can just keep building them up in your hand so you can make more Xyz plays later on. But this card is just really powerful, and probably one of the better Yosenjus. Besides, possibly, I could see argument for Kama 1. And then we run 2 copies of Yosenju Sujik. I think I'm pronouncing that card right. However, this card's effect says that you can discard this card from your hand to be able to increase the attack of one of your Yosenju monsters on the field by 1,000. Or if this monster is already on the field, you can then just target any of your Yosenju monsters, and then it gains 1,000. And of course, it bounces back to hand. This one does not have the effect of getting an additional normal summon, so you want this to be the last summon you do. The main thing also about the immediately normal summon again after summoning one is that those are not once per turn, the other effects are once per turn. So I do want to mention that real quick. And this card is only once per turn, but that's each of the effects. So the hand discard and the on-field effect are once per turn each. So that's it for the Yosenju monsters. Moving on, we do run some hand traps, of course. We do run 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, as well as 3 copies of Nibiru. Main reason why we use Nibiru is because we can easily just get rid of all their monsters and then just bounce the token, or even just put a Kaiju on the token just to get rid of it. And then to wrap it up, we do run 3 copies of Infinite Permanence to wrap up the hand traps. And then moving on into the Kaijus, we run 1 copy of Gamma Seal, 1 copy of Godarla. You can run more than this. I just like running the multiples because we do run the 3 copies of Kaiju Slumber. We do run, of course, 1 copy of Dogoran, as well as 1 copy of Jizukuru. And then, of course, as I just said, we do run 3 copies of Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. This card's pretty much just a dark hole that summons a Kaiju to both sides of the field. So, of course, you can be able to summon out any of these. One of the best ones to do, of course, is give your opponent Gamma Seal, and give yourself Godarla because it is a wind, and games 2 and 3, we do side in both Rivalry and Gozen Match if we can. So that's just really powerful, just to be able to give that to your opponent and give yourself Godarla, so that way you don't lock yourself. Continuing on into the consistency cards of the deck, we do run 3 copies of Tinky. Tinky just when you activate it, you can search for a level 4 or lower Beast Warrior, so that's any of your Yosenju monsters. And then all Beast Warrior monsters you control gain 100 attack. You can only activate 1 per turn, but this is just one of your starters. And then for the pot cards, we do run 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance, as well as 3 copies of Pot of Duality. This, I think, is just really good for your consistency and draw cards. I don't really think I need to go into these all too much. Then to wrap up the deck, we do run 3 copies of Ultimate Slayer. What this card does is you can target 1 monster your opponent controls that was summoned from the extra deck. Monsters cannot respond to the activation of this card, so this is chain link, this is spell speed 4, like Super Poly. However, you have to send a monster from the extra deck with the same type to the graveyard to be able to use that effect, and we do have targets for this for practically every type. But then to wrap it up, we do run 1 copy of Harpy's Feather Duster, just to wrap up the main deck. Moving on into the extra deck, we run multiple 2-ofs. We do run 2 copies of Abyss Dweller to be able to lock out the graveyards, 2 copies of Baguska the Terribly Tired Tapir, mainly just so that way we can stall if we need a few more turns to be able to get what we need. Then we run 2 copies of Utopia Double, as well as 2 copies of Utopia. So Utopia Double is actually really powerful, being able to search out your copy of Double or Nothing, which we do have in the side deck, and then you can immediately overlay Utopia on top of this card, and it doubles the attack of your Utopia. So therefore, you would go Utopia Double, detach a material, search out your Double or Nothing, and then go into Utopia. And then what you do from there is you can just attack with your 5,000 attack Utopia, activate its effect to detach a material, and then you can activate Double or Nothing, so that way you can redeclare the attack and double the attack once again for 10,000 points of damage. And it just helps to close out games on game 2 or 3, or if you go second, it's just one of your OTK cards that's just really powerful. Then of course we do run the 1 copy of Time 3 for Redoer, because Redoer is my favorite rank 4 Xyz, just one of my favorite Xyz in general, but it's just also really powerful to be able to allow you to draw cards, or if you can put traps on it to be able to bounce cards as well. Then we do run 1 copy of Gaga Cowboy to be able to inflict damage to our opponent during game 3s. Then we do run, of course, the Divine Arsenal AA Zeus Sky Thunder just to help with board wiping. Continuing on with the Ultimate Slayer's targets, we do run both 1 copy of Intis, because Intis has the effect of whenever this card is sent to the graveyard, you can then target 1 card on the field and destroy it, so that's another really good way to plus off of your Ultimate Slayer, being able to take out 2 cards instead of just 1. And then Garura has the effect of if it's into the graveyard, you can draw 1 card, so it's a little bit of extra draws if you need it. Then we do run 1 copy of Tri-Brigade Fergie, the Baron Blossom. The main reason why we run this card is because when this card is sent to the graveyard, you can draw 1 card and then place 1 card on the bottom of the deck. So it's just the worst version of Garura, but it's for Lynx, so it's just pretty good anyway. And then we wrap it up with 1 copy of Cyframe Lord Omega. The main reason why I run Omega is for the reason of, if this card is in the graveyard, you can then shuffle this card and 1 card from your graveyard back into the deck, so that way it just adds you a little bit of ways to recur your cards, because Yosenjus don't really have the best way of getting their cards out of the graveyard. So if you can just like spin a Synchro monster back to your opponent's extra deck, you can just send this to recur one of your Yosenjus, which is just really good all by itself. And for this deck, I actually do have a bit of a side deck just to show you guys what you guys can run. Personally, I like running the 2 copies of Lava Golem. Some people run like Sphere Mode or whatever. However, usually whenever I face off against Kashtira players at my locals, they'll end on a Shangri-Ira and a Arise Heart and Pass. So just having the Lava Golem allows you to be able to drop that on them, and then you can always just recycle it using your Yosenju Kama 1. Then we do run 3 copies of Drolling Lockbird, because lots of decks search right now, and if you can just stop them from searching, then they can't really do all too much. Then I run 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone, as well as the 1 copy of Double or Nothing. As I said, Double or Nothing allows you to attack again if your attack gets negated, so therefore you can just use this with your Utopia to negate itself, as well as double the attack. And then to wrap up the side deck, as I said, we do run 3 copies of Revelry of Warlords and 3 copies of Gozen Match, because all of our monsters are Wind Beast Warriors. The only thing that really messes with it is if you're using the Gozen Match, but even then you're more likely going to side out your Kaijus first, as well as maybe your Nibirus, for just a bunch of the cards in here. So this can just easily swap out cards if you're going to go first and you want to get rid of the going second cards. Alright, so that's going to be about it for the video, guys. I hope you guys really enjoyed the deck profile. I really enjoyed making it. It's one of my favorite decks that I've been wanting to build ever since I really got into the game back in like 2018, I think. It might have been 2017. But with that being said, guys, that's going to be about it. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any suggestions y'all would make to make this deck even better, just leave them down in the comment section. But really, that's going to be about it for the video. See ya.